Hey everyone, it's Tim and Falconite, and I'm back with another episode of Road to 1K. Today's episode is this High Funds Tier 4 match on the map Autumn's Grace versus Mr. Invictus here. Who is... looks like he's... well, let's go to the league. I'm thinking... yeah, he's mainly High Funds, actually. That's funny. Oh, and he's basically a grit main on High Funds. That's actually funny as hell. So, you know, like I trash on grit a lot in High Funds, but this was actually a pretty good matchup for grit, I would say, because Kindle just gets absolutely bodied by grit. It's a pretty much a hard counter. So that's one good thing that Grit has going for him is he can just body Kindle, and since Kindle is very common, well actually they came up with the new CO tier list for High Funds, which puts Kindle a tier below Grit, so you can't really see that matchup anymore. But in the old tier list, they were both in tier 4. I'll bet that if I go to create game and I go to top tier, well actually no, it's going to be bottom tier, low tier. Yeah, Grit's still available on it. Is it currently in Global League still? Yeah, it's still in Global League. So they haven't really updated all of the ban lists on at least most of the High Funds maps, I'll bet, so far. Meaning that you can do, you're still going to be able to see, you're still going to see Grit come out on High Funds maps like this. Honestly, I would say this is a pretty good thing for this, except I think just bodies Grit, probably. Jake body's Grit. Adder and Cole, I think, body Grit. Well, maybe. I'm kind of talking out my ass on that one. At least, so. Sammy's banned on this map for some reason. This is just a weird map. But anyways, I forget if Sammy was... I feel like Sammy... no, Sammy was definitely tier 4. And it's not like, well, I mean, the HQs are sort of exposed. They're kind of far away from the production base over here. So yeah, the important thing here is you got these airports that are exposed and these comm towers that are both in the center. And they're sort of exposed, or sort of not exposed. They're going to be very important on this map. It's going to be very important to try and deny your opponent from them. Like if you can deny your opponent the airport, that simplifies things a lot for you. Obviously, if you're playing against Grit, you're gonna want to get the airport early on and just start spamming battlecopters, maybe even bombers. But I think battlecopters, you just want to get as many battlecopters out as you possibly can, because it's only like a single airport type map, because there are lots of High Funds maps which have 2 airports. I feel like Grit absolutely gets demolished on those. But on a map like this, Grit's actually a pretty solid pick. Because he only has to deal with 1 airport, meaning that there aren't going to be that many... there aren't going to be that many battlecopters coming out, because your opponent can only build so many. Meaning that Grit can focus on building up his artillery block that he wants, and then he can have he doesn't need to build nearly as many anti-airs as you would if you were able to just spam out battlecopters, which is important for Grit because well basically it means he can get more unit count in artillery, and that's really important for him. And yeah, the other thing about Grit is like he can snowball very easily, especially if you're playing against him with a CO that doesn't really have firepower day to day. like Kindle, for example, actually. And on a map like this, which is pretty sparse into city departments, I feel like Kindle is actually like just trash. Honestly, on this map, Kindle is kind of trash. Maybe compared to, because I feel like most of these guys plus Kindle. So, no, I feel like even the movement is going to be better than Kindle's day-to-day. I mean, Kindle's little power, because she's going to be, even though she's going to be able to spam it a lot, you're going to be able to repair a lot anyways, so it's not going to matter too much. And she still struggles attacking into cities is the important part. So as long as you play around that, you'll be fine. Against Kindle. And yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and get started with the replay then. It's a little bit small on the bottom, but this is the bottom row of the map, so it's fine. Actually, I'm gonna double check the, yeah, 5248. So nothing like too crazy, but there is a small advantage for player one. Although you don't really see it that much to start out with. We're gonna get their, well, actually player two is gonna get their third base out first, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, and this is a bit the funny thing about this is like I'm not like the best high funds player in the world, and Invictus is like, as you saw on his profile, he's basically all high funds, which is funny because it means that he's just gonna roll me. As you can see here, I open with the Neo Tank here. As Kindle, I think that's, well, now that I think about it, so you have Grit, right? He's got artillery. They still do a shitload to Neo Tanks, I think. They do like half to Neo Tanks. And like you need the Neo Tank to one-shot them, which I think was my idea going into this, but like tanks can still do like half damage to them. Like look at that, it's only 20-ish% more to the tanks, but like look at how much more it is in like just value. And Grit's gonna be able to fire off these as like an insane amount. Recons, I think that Grit like almost one-shots recons, yeah. Especially once you get this con tower. So recons are also pretty good against Grit. The thing is, like, you need to rush down Grit as soon as you can, and on a larger map like this, that might be a bit difficult. And like, because his infantry don't suffer day to day on a map like this specifically, where it's super spread out, and it's in like early game tank engagements aren't going to be as like they're not going to be as important. That gives Grit the time that he needs to sort of just build up an artillery block and then start pushing against your units. Like what you want to do against Grit is try and get him to, you sort of need to try and fight a two-front battle in which he has his artillery block in like one area, and then you pick off his units on the in everywhere else, try to get rid of his capture game, and then win through that. Because that's Grit's main weakness, is that his mobility is kind of crap. And I get an anti-air out immediately as well. Anti-air aren't, I feel like anti-air are actually pretty solid against Grit. They're only like marginally more expensive than tanks, and they still do like half damage on planes. So you can two-shot artillery with anti-air still, and that gets rid of that. And the other good thing about anti-air against Grit is like they're good against air units as well. So that's the important thing about anti-air. They're only a little bit more expensive than tanks, and you can definitely afford it on high funds. Obviously, like, you want battle copters, because like that's the biggest counter, because he can't hit them with anything. Basically, he's already going for the anti-air as well, because you have these airports out very early on. You need the Neo tank to take out the anti-air properly, I think, but even like a tank shot into an anti-air isn't the worst. So, yeah, I don't know. Am I going for recon as well? Like, my build order is kind of sporadic, whereas my opponent's just able to zone shit out with his artillery. Like, look at that, he's already got this thing over here on block. And he's already moving in with other stuff here. So I should, what I should be doing here is like trying to commit against his artillery with my tanks here. And getting as much done as I can over here. Like, I don't know what I did, why I was going like that specifically with the tank. I should have just gone straight down and tried to zone out the artillery as much as I could. But I'm sort of doing like this half measures thing where I'm not committing entirely on one side or the other. Which is going to allow him to just move around and just zone me out like this with these guys. He's actually falling back, so I do get the comm tower here. Which is going to be sort of important. And the recon here is actually coming in clutch here because it's allowing me to stop him from taking back comm tower for right now. But like, whatever. It's not the end of the world. I think that's annoying here is like, yes, I have my stuff here, but like, he's going to be able to just pow pow and take out my tank here, I believe. Yeah, so I'm gonna lose. Like, I think what I was trying to do was guard against the anti-air with my tanks, but what I ended up doing instead was just letting him take my battlecopter for free air, more or less. Whereas I should have just waited for the other battlecopter and then did a larger push in a second here, with the Neo tank as well. Probably. Because I move in like this with the Neo tank, but I'm still like hiding on the edges of his attacks radius here. And I go with probably early bomber here as well, which in hindsight, like, it's gonna be nice against his anti-airs, but the issue with it is like, he's gonna be able to just chain anti-airs, so that's why I don't think bombers are the best idea against here. And he was able to just go around with the anti-air anyways. I don't know what I was doing there. He's got a decent block of artillery here. Like, he's already got 2 good blocks of artillery here, which is crazy that he's able to do it like this. In hindsight, I guess I was overextending quite a bit here because he got his base right here. He's able to just get artillery out there very easily. And I should have been trying to make him push into my areas a little bit more. So I go in like that. His anti-air's out of the way, his battlecopter's out of the way. So I am able to do some stuff over here for like the time being, but like at the end of the day, it's not gonna matter too much. I popped Urban Void as well. Like, look at how little it did. Oh, he's got a fighter out already as well, which is kind of funny. That's the other reason why you don't really want to build bombers, especially against Grit, is because it makes him build fighters. And once he gets fighters out, he has an automatic counter to like your battlecopters, so you can't really build battlecopters as much. So Yeah, I think the bomber was like a really, really big mistake in this match on my part. I go for a fighter to counter his fighter, but like, because Grit's gonna be able to just keep on getting out artillery and stuff, he's gonna be able to just run me down very slowly like that. And I'm committing too many units in this area without like actually attacking his damage dealing units. Like he's got them in the perfect formation where I'm not able to actually push in against them. Which is very irritating, honestly. And it just allows me, because I'm not pushing in properly against him, he's able to just fire, stand back, fire, and yeah, there he goes. He's able to move in like that, follow his unit still. This is why COs like Kindle or even like Grim or someone are just like super weak against Grit, because they can't really get much done. Like they move in like that, they do a push, and then they get blasted off. So that's the main issue that I'm running into here. Is I try to make a push, but then because I'm overextending as well, I think it's the other issue. Like what I should have done is recognize that this is a bit further away for him to move to, so I should have just pushed hard and fast over here. Basically, push this way, then push this way, or at least just commit all my units into one area, and then make a bit of a spearhead, and then sort of try to dance around his ranges, because it's just so hard to dance around its artillery ranges. I go for another bomber here, which, like, I needed a second fighter, probably. So, he goes for a snipe attack here, and he just does so much damage as well. Like, it's actually just ridiculous. Like, he is this guy from downtown. And as you can see, this is like a pretty big map as well. And I'm just getting my ass handed to me because, well, it's because I'm playing Kindle. And Kindle is good on isolated terrain, meaning that if my opponent just dances around that, and zones me out of that terrain as well, which is like Grit's bread and butter, that's how he's able to do so much here. And like, as you can see here, I'm still ahead, like, I'm ahead like 10k right now in income, but as far as like in value, it doesn't really matter. I got a third bomber out as well, but like he's still going to be able to afford like fighter artillery every turn is the issue. He goes for the anti-air to take out the battlecopter, which I just randomly tossed in there for no reason. Like, that's the other thing, is like I'm being very aggressive, which is having the effect of limiting his income significantly, which is good. But I'm also just throwing stuff into the meat grinder instead of building up unit count to push in, to like make a very big push against either one of his fronts. He just takes out the recon like that for free, basically. And he's finally going to be able to get the comm tower here, which is going to be pretty huge for him. He's going full anti-air as well, which is really bad for me, because I've gone 3 bombers now. Oh, he's got a missile too. He's just going to be able to start zoning stuff out with that, so which is going to be important for him. Like, I'm going to be able to push in here a little bit, but like he's going to be able to just zone me out with, zone my bombers out with that missile in these anti-air, and he's going to just build up indirect behind him to back him up. And I go for another bomber. So that's the issue here. Gets a snipe attack off. Takes out my anti-air importantly, because that's what I sort of need to deal with this fighter safely. And he's got another fighter right here as well, so it doesn't really matter. He gets good damage off against the Neo Tank as well. And at this point, it is like, oh, okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of damage there. A little bit of damage here. Like, Grit's... The good thing about Grit is that he doesn't even lose defenses on his fighters, so that makes him really good, actually, for dealing with air units. I think if I had just done just spammed battlecopters and like tanks in recons out of these bases, I would have been in a much better spot. But I do take a little bit, do a good amount of damage here, at least. Like, it's not gonna matter, because yeah. I'm right in range of his base here, and I'm overextending like crazy. And then I just resign. So, bit of an anticlimactic match, actually. The reason I resign is because all of this stuff in the south that I just committed here is dead. It's just all gone. Every last one of these units is just gone. He's got the fighter there as well. Like, he's just going to be able to take that, blast everything away, and then he's going to come back stronger. So I just wasted all of these units here on that push. For nothing, basically. What you sort of want to do is... and yes, I am, like, irritating his capture game very, very steadily. Honestly, I don't think I could probably take that guy out as well with this infantry here. Maybe. It's on a 4 defense tile right now, so maybe not, but... Look, I'd be able to do a good amount of damage here. Oh, no, that guy is gone. So he still would be down a comm tower. And the reason why I sort of need to push this turn as well is because he just popped his power. So that's sort of my reasoning for why I pushed like this. But next turn he's going to be able to just wipe the floor with me, which is why I resigned here. My main issue on this map, like, Kinto's still not bad. I think on map analysis she's got 60% win rate on this map still. And Grit only has like a 30-something one. My main issue is like I overextended like crazy against Grit's artillery here, which that was a big problem. And then I wasted all my money on bombers instead of just spamming out light units that I could afford. Because that's sort of what you need to do, is you need to be able to get a lot of light units in order to just overwhelm Grit's artillery and stuff. Instead of what I did, which was just get bombers and stuff. Which I think most of them didn't even one-shot. Well, they one-shot alright. But the issue is, like, that's a 6,000 value unit. That's a 6,000 value unit, and I'm throwing away these bombers which are worth 3 times as much for these stupid artillery. Which is the main issue here. Honestly, what I probably should have done, maybe could have done... Are you guys able to push in? Yeah, these guys were able to push in. Did I push in with him? Pushed in against this guy. I don't know why I did that. Okay, that's fine. But what I should have done was push in against this area a little bit. Probably. Because what I could have done was pressure his income a little bit by doing that. Instead, I just went for like this. Like, if I had pushed in on this side with my tanks a bit more, like I could have done damage to this guy, to this guy. I'm even attacking this guy instead of the artillery. Why? Why would you do that? Like, you're still able to do half an artillery here. That's the important thing. I think my other main mistake was just, like, I like to focus down infantry because it means that he's bad in the capture game. And as you can see here, he's down like 12k in capture kit. But he doesn't actually need it that much, honestly. Like, he can get out fighters, artillery very easily, and that's all he needs. So, yeah, what I should have done, I just built too many expensive units was the issue. But yeah, that's the main issue here. Looking at this is actually isn't that bad of a situation, though. Like, if I had more tanks, I think this would have been, instead of just spending everything on bombers, I think this would have been a lot more doable. Because you're doing anti-air into the artillery, which, like, that's sort of sucks, because, like, the anti-air aren't going to, I mean, the battlecopters aren't going to be able to one-shot the artillery either. But at the very least, it's like 70%. Why is it 2? But it's only like 70%, and then he's weakened and he has to fall back with it a bit, whereas I can just keep pushing in harder against him. Which is the important thing. The other important thing on this map is, like, there aren't that many cities for him to, like, repair on, which is the other good thing. Which, yeah, I think that would have been fine, is if I had just pushed against his artillery more. Like, I spent so many resources on this con tower that, quite honestly, if I had just let him take it and then built up, like, not even necessarily, I don't even necessarily need tanks, but like recons in this area, and then just swarmed him with them, that would have been pretty good. Because recons do have, like, especially in this area where there's nice roads here, you can just move back and forth very easily, and they basically have they threaten a large territory just like Grit's artillery does. Honestly, it's almost as large of a territory as his rockets give, so that's important. But yeah, Grit definitely hard counters Kindle. Absolutely. Do not take Kindle against Grit. It's a bad idea. Honestly, like, Sony against Grit is bad too. Grim against Grit is also bad. Lash versus Grit could be okay, but I think that's also pretty bad. Even though Lash does get a better terrain type stuff, and then he has good defenses as well she can get, making Grit's attack bite a little bit less. But yeah, that's basically it for everything. So that's it for today. Next match is going to be me losing a fog match against Drake as Sonya on this map. So this will be, so basically show just how freaking strong, like, Drake is on big maps like this. Like, it's the basic just addition subtraction type thing. Like, look at that, 55%, 56 on Kindle actually isn't that bad. And there are lots of cities on this map, so I don't like, it's definitely obvious why Kindle's pretty good on this map as well. So I guess yeah, that's basically it for today, though. So I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense, and I will see you guys next time. So bye.